So welcome back, guys. Here we are going to talk about yet another important series, that is entomology, right? So in the entomology, basically what is entomology, guys? Entomology is the study of insects, right? We are studying about various kind of insects over here. So basically this particular session I'm going to dedicate to our very special annoying friends, that is mosquitoes, right? So in this particular session we'll be talking about the different types of mosquitoes, what are the different features of the mosquitoes, right? What about the eggs features, what about the larval stages of the mosquitoes, what about the different diseases which are caused by these particular friends, different types of friends, these are the mosquitoes, right? So we'll talk about that. So first of all, what is entomology, guys? Entomology is nothing but the study of insects is called as the entomology, right? Study of insects is called as your entomology, right? So study of insects is called as entomology, right? Okay. Now in this particular entomology we shall read about several classes, right? So we might talk about the several classes in the entomology. So here we shall talk about the class 1. Okay, I'm naming that as A, B and the C, right? So class A could be the class Insecta, right? Class A could be the class Insecta. Then we might talk about the class Arachnida and the class Crustaceae, right? If you talk about the class Insecta, in the class Insecta itself we are reading about the mosquitoes, right? So in the class Insecta we are reading about the mosquito, we are reading about the flies, about the Culex, right? About the flea, which is the Xenopsilus chiopis, right? And several other things we will be talking about them. Class Arachnida, it will be actually talking about the ticks and the mites, right? And in the class Crustaceae we will be talking about the cyclops. However, cyclops are not a public health problem, so that's why the main important things which are frequently tested, these are the mosquitoes, Culex, flea, flies and the ticks and the mites, right? But in this particular session we'll be talking about the mosquitoes, and the rest of the things we'll be talking about them in the next section, right? So stay tuned, guys. Let's start with the mosquitoes, right? So now let's start with mosquitoes. Okay, so as you know, guys, we are having several kind of mosquitoes. So basically if you talk about the mosquitoes are very close annoying friends of us, right, for the humans. So there is a very special relationship between the mosquitoes and the humans, and we know very well, so there are several kinds of mosquitoes over there, and they are actually not even in India, they are actually spreading all over the world. So they are the they are the global friends, I would say, as far as human species is concerned. So these are actually distributed globally. So mosquitoes are global in distribution, guys. Okay, mosquitoes are global in distribution. Okay, so if we will say that this is the mosquito, or any kind of mosquito we are seeing and we are calling that as mosquito, for the common man that is fine, but if we are calling that as mosquito, that is not serving the purpose over there. We should know which kind of species is this particular mosquito, right? So try to find the species of the mosquito whenever you are seeing that. They are having different kinds of sitting position also while whenever they are feeding also, right? We'll talk about all these particular things. So guys, if you talk about the mosquito, they are global in distribution. With that, the main species which we shall talk about over here, what are the main species, guys? We are talking about the four main species of the mosquitoes. What are these four main species? Can anyone name them? Right? So four main species, these are the Anopheles, very very popular one, Anopheles, right? Which is causing which disease, guys? Yes, malaria. Very nice. So Anopheles, then Culex, then we will be talking about Aedes, isn't it? And then we might be talking about the Mansonia. Okay, so we'll be talking about these four, very very important for the exam point of view, very very important. Each and every point of these four mosquitoes will be very very important and can be tested anywhere, right? So history tells that everywhere one question at least coming from these things only, right? It's very easy, you just need to focus. So guys, over here, what about the flight range of the mosquito, right? What about the flight range of the mosquito? Can anyone tell? Flight range of the mosquito, guys, it is almost around 11 kilometer. Can you imagine? For most of the species of the mosquito, right, they can fly and they can cover a distance for about 11 kilometer. Most of the species I am saying, except Aedes mosquito, and that's how the question comes. Aedes mosquito is having a flight range of how much meters? It is just in meters. It is 100 meters only, guys. So over here, the question is very easy for us in front of us, that usually the range of the mosquitoes is 11 kilometer, approximately 11 kilometer. That is the range for all the mosquitoes. But except, there is an exception over here, and these exceptions are very favorite for the examiner. So except, that is the Aedes mosquito. Except which mosquito, guys? Aedes mosquito. Aedes mosquito is having how much range? That is around 100 meters, right? So we have covered that MCQ as well, right? Okay. One more question I would like to mention over here, that what about the lifespan of the mosquitoes? So it can vary in between 8 days till about 34 days, 32 days. So what about the lifespan? Lifespan is about 8 to 32 days. 8 to 32 or 8 to 34 days. Okay. So be very clear with that also, right? Once the question came, for any kind of airport, actually, for any kind of airport in some state or in some country, right? What is the range? What is the minimum range which should be free from the mosquitoes? Because we are talking about the mosquitoes, it can spread the diseases. So from one country to the another country, the disease might be getting spreading, right? For example, malaria. Malaria is more endemic in the countries like Asian countries, for example, India, Pakistan. Okay, these countries are actually endemic for the malaria. But if you talk about the US and all, the malaria is not that endemic. And the visitors from these countries, if they're coming to India, right, their doctors are actually telling them or prescribing that they should be getting the prophylactic vaccine for that, isn't it? So that is not endemic in some other. So there is some disease, for example, yellow fever is exotic for India. Yellow fever is not found in India generally, but obviously it can come from any other disease for any other country. For example, it can come from the Africa, isn't it? So for that purpose, what should be the range? What should be the range which should be free from the mosquitoes as far as airports are concerned? That is a 40 meters. So that was also the MCQ, guys, once has been asked, right? So what is the range, guys? 40 meters. You need to remember, okay? So mosquito free range for the airport, that will be the 40 meters. So I'm just mentioning over here, mosquito free range for the airports, right? It's kind of a fun fact, okay? That is the you can understand that is the 40 meters, right? Or it's very important actually, because we should know that, right? 40 meters, because the one disease can spread from one country people to the another one. Okay, guys. Then about the larval stage, if we talk about around these particular mosquito species, right, it is around 5 to 7 days. So about the larval stage, if I'm talking about, right, if I'm talking about the larval stage of these mosquito, it is somewhere around 5 to 7 days, guys. Somewhere around 5 to 7 days. And I'm saying that is approximately, obviously plus minus can be there, but that is the particular range. If they will be asking you, then you need to mark this answer, right? Now we shall talk about the species. Which species I told you over here? Yes, that will be the discussion point of this particular session. Anopheles, Culex, Aedes and the Mansonia. Let's talk about one by one. So now I'm going to talk about the very first one. I'm going to take very first one. That is our friend, very common friend, very common, very annoying friend over here. That is the Anopheles, right? Anopheles mosquito we will be talking about right now. Anopheles mosquito. Okay. Anopheles mosquito. If you talk about the Anopheles mosquito, guys, right? What about the, I will be talking about some things, right? For example, eggs. I will be talking about the larval stages. I will be talking about the adults. I will be talking about what diseases they will be causing, right? So these kind of things I'll be talking about. So for that purpose, I'm just writing, what about the eggs? For every kind of species, the eggs numbers are between 100 to 250. It might vary. So 100 to 250, I will be taking the range over here. So for the eggs also, I am taking the range of 100 to 250. So what about the eggs? We shall know over here, right? What about the eggs, guys? So eggs, basically, they are actually laying them singly, right? So they laid them singly, right? As you can see over here, right? These are the eggs for the Anopheles mosquito, and you can see over here, what I can see over here as far as eggs are concerned, if I'm taking this egg, okay, first of all, they are having which kind of shape, guys? They are having the boat shape. They are having boat shape with the lateral floats. You can see over here, they are having the lateral floats. Lateral floats are present over there. These are the lateral floats, right? So they are having the lateral floats, guys. It's very, very important for us to know. So they are having which shape? They are having the boat shape. They are having the lateral floats over there around them, and these kind of eggs are actually, you need to identify them in the exam because this image might be coming over there. These are the eggs of which species of mosquito? These are the eggs of Anopheles mosquito, right? What is the range of the Anopheles mosquito? I told you for every kind of species of mosquito, the range is around 11 kilometers. But for the Aedes mosquito, it is 100 meters, right? Okay, guys. Now here you can see this is the Anopheles mosquito, right? What I can see is that this is the Anopheles mosquito. Look at the position of this Anopheles mosquito, guys. You have to identify this, right? So this is the Anopheles mosquito. Look at the position of this Anopheles mosquito. If this is the head of the mosquito and this is the rear end of the mosquito. So if I'm holding this pen like this is the position of the mosquito, right? So it will be, it will be actually sitting on my hand like this, right? So this is the mosquito position as far as Anopheles is concerned, right? Now here you can see the head is towards the body surface, head is low, and the rear end is actually comparatively high. So that is the position of what? Anopheles mosquito. That's how you can, while feeding, when they're sitting on the body surface while feeding, they are actually having the head low and rear end high. So that is the sitting position of which mosquito? Anopheles mosquito. So that's how you can identify over here. And over here I can also see that this is the position, right? We can see this is the position here. This is the head of the particular this mosquito over here, and we can see that this is the rear end of the mosquito, and head is actually on the lower side and this is on the higher side, right? So that's how we can identify this particular mosquito, right? Okay, fine, right? Okay, so we are talking about mosquito and our friend is sitting just over here, right? So anyways, so this is about Anopheles. So we should know how to identify the Anopheles mosquito, and we should know about the eggs as well, right? So I was talking about the eggs. You can see the single eggs over there, right? It is also single, this is also single. So they are not present in clusters. For example, I will talk about the Mansonia eggs, I will talk about the Culex eggs. They are present in the clusters, but these Aedes eggs and the Anopheles eggs, right? These two eggs are not present in the cluster. They are actually laying them singly. So you can see this is the separate, this is separate, this is separate. So laying them singly, Anopheles mosquito eggs, right? Okay, so they are laid singly. With that we can write laid singly, and which shape? Boat shape. They are having the boat shape. Along with that I shall write that laterally they will be having lateral floats are there. So with the lateral floats, so lateral floats are present over there, right? Okay, next point over here we shall talk about the larval stages, right? After the eggs we shall talk about the larval stages, right? If you talk about the larval stages over here, guys, they are not having the siphon tube. I will be talking about the siphon tube also, what is the siphon tube and all. If I'm talking about the eggs, right, they are present underwater, just beneath the surface of the water. If this is the surface of the water, just beneath the surface of the water they are having the eggs, and for the respiration process, for the respiration purpose, obviously if they want to survive they have to do the respiration process, obviously, but they are just present under the surface of the water, and what they are doing basically, they are just parallel to the undersurface of the water, right? So by the surface of the water, whenever they want to breathe over there, for an example, so they are just beneath the surface of the water. So that's how they are serving their purpose of respiration process, right? Okay, so this is the thing about the larval stages. So they are not having the siphon tube. I will talk about the siphon tube in the next in the next mosquito series, when I will be talking about the Aedes, or when I will be talking about the Culex and all. You will understand what is the siphon. Siphon is like a tube over there, because their larva, I will be telling you that their larva is actually present beneath the water, but here I am saying beneath the surface of the water, just beneath the surface of the water their larva is present over there. So for example, if this is the surface of the water, and their larvae will be present just over here, just over here, so that they can be coming over the surface of the water and then they can take the air in, right? So this is about what? This is about the larva of the Anopheles, right? They are just present beneath the surface of the water. So here we are seeing that there is no siphon tube, right, as such. There is no siphon tube as such. Along with that, I can say that they are lying parallel to the, they lies parallel to surface of water, right, parallel to water surface of water. Okay, very important point, guys. Next point which we shall talk about over here, we have talked about the eggs, we have talked about the larval stages. Now we shall talk about the adults of the Anopheles. So Anopheles adults, guys, right? I'm talking about very important points, guys. Everything has been asked, right? So please listen to that very attentively. So guys, if we talk about the adults, they are having the spotted wings, right? They're having the spotted wings. Okay, so very important point over here, they are having the spotted wings. Any other mosquito is not having the spotted wings, so it is kind of a differentiating feature. One differentiating feature is that what is the sitting position? That is the sitting position, head and low, rear and high. And next point is spotted wings, right? They are the distinguishing features. That's why it becomes very important for the exams as well. Then we shall talk about the breeding areas, right? We shall talk about the breeding areas. If we talk about the breeding areas, are they fulfilling themselves in the polluted or dirty water or in the clean water? They are actually breeding in the clean areas, in the clean water. So they are actually breeding themselves in the clean water. So you will be finding them in the clean water, which is actually stagnant, right? Clean stagnant water, for example pond and all. So over there it can actually breed. Or some rain happened. After the rain, in the rainy season, what is happening in the rainy season, mosquitoes numbers are increasing. Why is it so? Because they will be actually, there will be the pits over here and there, pits and burrows will be present in the road surface and all, as far as many places are concerned, for example in India, right? So the water can be filling up in those pits and burrows, and over there the this Anopheles might be actually breeding over there, right? So in the clean water, in the stagnant water, it will be found, not in the dirty water, right? Next point over here, which we shall talk about, that what are the diseases which might be spreading from the Anopheles. So diseases are very simple, guys. Everybody knows that, right? That is nothing new over here. The malaria might be there, and with that, filaria, you should also remember along with that. So malaria and filaria, they are the diseases which can be spread from the Anopheles mosquito, right? One more very important point which I need to mention over here, that what is the sitting position? Sitting position we have already talked about, so I'm not mentioning, so I'm just mentioning, what is the sitting position? Sitting position of this mosquito, sitting position will be very simple to understand. Head will be, right, so head and low, and rear end of the mosquito will be high. So we have talked about that already. Okay, so nothing new about that. Fine. So once we have talked about that, now we shall move on to the next category of the mosquito, next species of the mosquito, that is the Culex mosquito. Now let's talk about the Culex mosquito, guys. Now let's talk about the second one, that is the Culex mosquito. Okay, now let's talk about the Culex mosquito. Okay, in the Culex mosquito, what we are seeing, guys, again same points over here. I'm going to talk about eggs. They will be around 100 to 250, right? And what about the eggs? They will be laying them in the clusters. I told you Anopheles eggs, they were laying down singly. Anopheles laying their eggs singly, laid eggs singly. But here we are saying that they laid eggs in clusters or rafts, right? In clusters or rafts. As you can see over here, this is which mosquito, guys? This is the Culex mosquito. First of all, you should identify it because very frequently it can come in the exam. Look at the Culex mosquito right now. This is the Culex mosquito. What are you seeing over here, right? In the Culex mosquito, I can see the rear end is present over here, rear end is present over here, rear end is present over here, and head end is present over here. This is the head, right? So what you can see, head is also downwards, rear end is also downwards, head is also downwards, rear end is also downward over here. But you can see this is what? This is the neck. Neck is on the higher side. Neck is on the higher side, right? So it is having a kind of a hump. It's a hunching position, right? So this is the case of the Culex mosquito, right? If you talk about the eggs, guys, if you talk about the eggs, they are present in clusters. They are present in clusters, not laying them singly. I told you, I showed you the image of the eggs of Anopheles as well, but here I am showing you the eggs of Culex, and you can see very well that they are laying their eggs in clusters. So these are the eggs of what? These are the eggs of the Culex mosquito. Okay, so please remember them. Very, very important for the exam purpose as well. So images, nowadays they are testing the images very, very frequently. Okay. Right, now we shall talk about the larval stage. Okay, after talking about the eggs, we shall talk about the larval stage. If you talk about the larval stage, guys, do they have the siphon tube, which I was talking about them in the, which I was telling in the Anopheles, that Anopheles eggs are not having, Anopheles larvae are not having the siphon tube because they are just beneath the undersurface of the water. But here if I talk about, they are, yes, having the siphon tube, they are having the siphon tube. So they has the siphon tube. Right, they has the siphon tube. What do I mean by that siphon tube? Right, I will be coming to that. With that, we are seeing that they are lying in the water with the head face downwards. So they are lying in the water, they lies in water with head faced downwards, okay, fine. Now I was talking about that, they are lying under the water. For example, if this is the water surface, right, if this is the water surface over here, right, and their eggs are actually, their larvae are present over here, inside, their larvae are present over here inside, right, their larvae are present over here inside. Just showing you the example. Let's say these are the larvae. Now they will be connecting to a tube, and this tube is called as the siphon tube. This tube is called as which tube? This tube is called as the siphon tube. So do Anopheles have siphon tube? No, because they are just present under the surface of the water. Do Culex mosquito have siphon tube? Yes. Aedes mosquito have siphon tube? Yes. I will talking about that as well. Okay, so that's how, this is the larvae of Culex mosquito. For example, this is the larvae of Culex mosquito. Okay, this is the water surface. So very important for us to know, guys, right? And this is the water over here. Okay, obviously. Fine, guys, fine. So once we have talked about that, now we shall coming to our topic itself. The larval stage we have talked about. They are having, do they have siphon tube? Yes, they have siphon tube, and we have understood what is the siphon tube. They are for the respiration process, right? Because they can't breathe inside the water, right? They have to breathe for the breathing purpose. They have to come to the water surface, right? But if they are not coming to the water surface, what they are doing basically, they are having the siphon tube. Through the siphon tube, they are getting their air, right? Okay, for the respiration part. Now if you talk about the adults, guys, right, their wings are not having the spots. I told you in the Anopheles the wings are spotted, but here I am saying the wings are not spotted, right? The wings are spotted only and only in the Anopheles. Rest of the species are not having the spotted wings, so wings are unspotted. Okay, so please do remember that as well. If you talk about the breeding areas of this one, breeding areas, they will be breeding themselves in the dirty water or the polluted water. Okay, so please be very cautious about this. Anopheles, I told you clean water. Aedes, I will be telling you clean water, but here I am talking about the Culex. I am saying that they will be actually breeding in the dirty or the polluted water, not in the clean one, right? Okay, then if we talk about the diseases, which kind of diseases which we shall talk about as far as this Culex mosquito is concerned. So diseases are so many as far as this particular thing is concerned. For example, it can cause the it can cause the Japanese encephalitis, it can cause the West Nile fever, it can cause the Japanese encephalitis, it can cause the West Nile fever, it can cause the Bancroftian Filariasis, right? It can cause the viral arthritis. So these are some of the disease, viral arthritis, etc. Okay, some of the disease, these are some of the disease which we shall see. These are the eggs. So these are some of the disease which we shall see as far as Culex mosquito is concerned. And again, guys, very, very important, they are also called as the nuisance mosquitoes, right? They are also called as the, right, so also known as nuisance mosquitoes. Okay, fine. So they keep their bodies horizontal while feeding. You can see over here they are keeping their body horizontal. Only the neck part is on the higher side, and the head part and the rear part of the mosquito, they will be actually lying parallel to the surface. They're lying parallel to the surface. How the Anopheles was sitting over the body surface? Anopheles was like this, Anopheles was like this, where the head end was having the lower side and rear end was on the upper side. But here I am talking about which mosquito? Culex mosquito. They are almost horizontal. Yes, their neck will be having the hunch, but along with that, the head and the rear end will be having the parallel surface with the water, that is the parallel surface with the body surface, that is the horizontal position, right? So please do remember that as well. So they keep their body horizontal while feeding, right? So here note, Culex mosquito keeps their body horizontal while feeding. Okay, horizontal while feeding, right? So with that we have talked about the Culex mosquito as well, guys. Now we shall move on to our next mosquito, and that is the Aedes mosquito. Yes, Aedes mosquito, and they are not very good friend of ours, because during the time of rainy season and during the time of July to November, they are very successfully spreading a very common disease, that is the dengue fever, right? So dengue virus fever, dengue hemorrhagic fever, dengue shock syndrome, all of these things are related to the dengue, chikungunya, and all of these things are actually caused by this particular friend. This is the very, very annoying friend, Aedes mosquito, right? Aedes mosquito, and having a very cool look, if you talk about, right? Having a very cool look over here. So you can see this is the picture of the Aedes mosquito, right? So for the exam purpose, guys, please remember that this picture, this image is the Aedes mosquito. What I can see over here, having the black color wings, having the black color wings, but over here those black color wings, they are having the white spots. They're having the white spots, and that looks cool for this particular mosquito, right? And you can see, the belly is containing the blood over here, isn't it? So that is the thing over here. They are sucking the blood from the body surface. So over here, guys, we are gonna talk about the Aedes mosquito, right? So if you talk about the same things, guys, if you talk about the eggs of the Aedes mosquito, here we are saying that, are they laying their eggs singly or in the clusters? They are laying their eggs singly. Anopheles singly, Culex in the clusters, Mansonia I will be talking about again in the clusters, Aedes in singly. So they are actually laying their eggs, they laid their eggs singly, right? What about the larval stages? How many eggs I am talking about? Approximately 100 to 250, obviously, right? So if you talk about the larval stages of the Aedes mosquito, larval stages of the Aedes mosquito, here we are talking about, again, same thing as the Culex we have talked about. Do they have siphon tube? Yes, they are having siphon tube. What will be the position? They will be lying inside the water with head face downwards. So I told you in the Culex mosquito as well, the siphon tube, and they lie in the water with head faced downwards. Same thing for the Aedes and the Culex over here. So in the Culex also I told you, and here in the Aedes mosquito I am also telling you same thing over here. Do they have siphon tube? Yes, they do have. Yes, they do have the siphon tube, right? So for example, under the water surface, this is the larva, this could be the larva of Culex, this could be the larva of Aedes mosquito, right? And they are having the siphon tube over there, right? And through the siphon tube, they are serving their purpose for the respiration part, for the air, right? Okay, for their survival. So this is, they are having the siphon tube. Their head will be facing downwards, right? Their head will be facing downwards inside the water. Next point over here about the adults, guys, right? About the adults. Over here we are seeing that the wings will be, they will be spotted or unspotted. I told you only for the Anopheles mosquito the wings are spotted, otherwise wings are unspotted. But their body are having the stripped appearance, right? Their body, they're having the stripped appearance. You can see over there, their body are having the stripped appearance, isn't it? So wings will be unspotted, right? Spotting of the wings are only and only seen in Anopheles mosquito. So wings are unspotted, guys, but the body is having the stripping. Body is having the stripping, right? Very, very important feature over here. That's why I'm highlighting as well. Okay. If you talk about the breeding areas, right? What could be the breeding areas? What could be the breeding areas? So breeding areas will be the clean water. For an example, you know, the water in the coolers, the water in the drums, the water in the tires, you know, the there was raining, and you know, on the roof there could be some, you know, utensils, some bucket or some tire or some, you know, these kind of things might be there where the water might be getting collected, right? So that is the thing. If the swimming pool is there inside the house, for an example, right, big people, swimming pool is there and it is not getting cleaned on a regular basis, obviously they might be hub for the mosquitoes, right? Which mosquitoes can be there? There might be the Anopheles, there might be the Aedes as well. But will there be Culex? No. Culex will be actually breeding themselves in the dirty or the polluted water. Okay guys, very nice. So breeding areas, if I will be talking about as far as Aedes mosquitoes are concerned, they will be actually breeding themselves in the clean water. They love clean water, guys. Okay, so artificial water collections, right? Clean water, artificial water collections, for example swimming pool and all, artificial water collections, right? For an example, it could be swimming pool, it could be any other thing also, right? It could be cooler, it could be tires, it could be water in the buckets, and all of these things. Okay guys, then we shall be talking about the diseases which it will be causing, right? It is causing very commonly, guys, I'm just changing the color, very commonly dengue fever, dengue hemorrhagic shock syndrome, dengue shock syndrome, dengue hemorrhagic fever, right? These are the diseases. Chikungunya, right? It can also spread the filariasis, it can also spread the Rift Valley fever, it can also spread the Zika virus. So all of these diseases can be spread through this particular bite of the Aedes mosquito, right? And usually they are biting in the daytime, you know, they are usually day biters. They are also known as the tiger mosquitoes, right? Look at the name, tiger. They are also known as the tiger mosquitoes. Why they are not known as the tiger mosquitoes? You know, they are very stubborn mosquito, right? You want to remove them, they are very aggressive, you know, they will not fly easily, right? They will suck the blood, and then after completing their job they will be going away, right? So can you kill them if you are seeing them over there? If you will be lucky enough to see them, okay, and if you are fast enough, then you can kill these mosquitoes. But otherwise they are very aggressive, and their bites are usually painful. Anopheles bites are usually painless, but the Aedes bites are painful, and they are very aggressive kind of bacteria, right? Aggressive kind of bacteria, not the bacteria, they are the mosquitoes, right? Okay, fine guys. So they are also known as which mosquito? They are also called as the tiger mosquito. Why they are getting this name tiger mosquito? Because look at the appearance of this mosquito, very cool kind of appearance, you know, they are fearless, you know, tiger is also fearless. So here Aedes mosquito, otherwise they are getting, look at the legs of this, look at the legs of this particular mosquito, having the stripping on the body itself, having the stripping on the, you know, white and black pattern is seen on the legs of this mosquito. So you know, it's a very different kind of mosquito. You can easily identify this mosquito in your exams as well if the image is coming. So this is the Aedes mosquito. Look at the eggs of the Aedes mosquito, guys. Eggs also you can actually identify them very commonly, very easily. So these are the eggs over here. Are they present in the clusters? No, they are present separately, they are present singly. So they are laying the eggs singly, isn't it? Laying the eggs singly. So very easy to identify as well, right? Now we shall be talking about the next one, right? So why the name was the tiger mosquito? They are the day biters. They are having the stripping on the body, and they are having the stripping on the legs of this particular mosquito as well, right? Okay, so we are talking about this particular stripping, isn't it? Right, white and black stripping. Now we shall talk about one more friend over here. This is the Mansonia. So fourth one now let's talk about, guys, that is the Mansonia mosquito. Okay, fine. If you talk about the Mansonia mosquito, again guys, same things over here. What about the eggs? Eggs are almost around 100 to 250 in numbers, right? This is the Mansonia mosquito which you are seeing over here. they're having very long legs, you know, very long legs over here, right? Look at the position, look at the head over here, look at the tail over here, or the rear end over here. All of them are downwards, but look at the neck over here having kind of a slightly elevated position. Okay, anyways guys, so over here they are having a long legs, they're having a long legs over here. So if you talk about the eggs, are they laying their eggs in clusters or are they laying their eggs singly? They are laying their eggs like the Culex I told you, they are having the clusters, they were laying their eggs in clusters. And here also I am talking about that they are also laying their eggs having the clusters, right? So they are laying their eggs in a star shaped pattern. So they are laying their eggs in a star shaped pattern, star shaped clusters, right? So laid in star shaped clusters. So laid their eggs in star shaped cluster. Look at the eggs of the Mansonia guys. They are laying their eggs in the cluster. They are laying their egg in the clusters, right? They are laying their eggs, right? So if you will be looking at the eggs guys, eggs you can see over here, they are having which shape? They are having the star shaped pattern, right? So these eggs I can say that these are having the star shaped patterns, and they are present in the clusters, right? They are laying their eggs in the clusters. Okay, so remember that. So Culex and Mansonia, they were laying their eggs in clusters. Okay, so always remember that, right? So laid in the star shaped clusters, right, as far as eggs are concerned. Now we shall talk about the larval stages, right? Now we shall talk about the larval stages. Okay, larval stage, if we talk about guys, do they have siphon tube? Yes, they do have the siphon tube, like the Aedes mosquito, like in the Culex mosquito, and now here also in the Mansonia, I am saying that the larvae are present inside the water, beneath the water. They are having the siphon tube, and through which they are taking their air for the respiration purpose, right? So they are lying inside the water and head will be facing downwards again. So this is the Mansonia. Here they are laying their eggs in a cluster shape, right, star shaped clusters. And over here we are saying that larval stages, they are actually, you know, present inside the water, beneath the water. And do they have the siphon tube? Yes, they do have the siphon tube. They do have siphon tube with head facing downwards inside the water, head facing downwards inside water. Okay, what about the adults then? What about the adults? Adults means over here, you know, the wings. Do they have spotting? No, we can't see. We are not seeing the spotting over here. Wing spotting will only be seen in the Anopheles guys. Very simple. So wing spotting are we seeing over there? Wings remain unspotted, right? Wings will be unspotted. Okay, as we saw that in the Aedes also, as we saw that in the Culex also, and we are seeing that in the Mansonia as well, right? Then we shall talk about the breeding areas. The breeding areas, if we talk about over here, they will be breeding themselves where the, you know, water bodies will be containing the aquatic vegetations, right? For an example, there would be a plant. In that particular plant, there will be the roots. They will be binding themselves to the roots, and then through the roots of that aquatic plant, they will be, you know, they will be actually taking the oxygen, right? And they will be fulfilling themselves over there, right? So over here we can say that breeding, if we talk about the what they are actually, you know, attaching to the roots of aquatic vegetations, roots of, right, aquatic vegetations, right? It could be plants and all of those things. So that could be the thing over here, right? If you talk about the disease, which it can cause over here, please remember only one disease I am telling you to remember, that is the Malayan filariasis, right? Malayan filariasis. Okay, you can remember that with the Malaysia, or you can remember that with the Malayalam, whatever it is, but it is the Malayan filariasis, right? Okay, what about the other features over here? You know, I told you that the Aedes is also called as the you know, tiger mosquito. They are the day biters. But if you talk about, you know, day biters, I mean that, you know, just around the sunrise, you know, after sunrise they will be having, you know, activity, that their activity is there, more activity will be seen as far as Aedes mosquito is concerned. Here the main point is they are actually having comparatively bigger in size, as you can see over here. They are comparatively bigger in size over here, right? Isn't it? They're comparatively bigger in size. They're having a blackish kind of color or the brownish kind of color, as you can see right now on your picture as well, on your screen as well. And they might be having the wings. There might be having the wings also. There might be having the legs also, but usually the legs are very, very longer. So they are actually big. They might be having the brown or the black color, having the wings and the bigger legs. Okay. So over here I shall write that they are actually bigger. They are having brown or the black color mosquitoes. They are the brown or the black color mosquitoes with wings unspotted, with unspotted wings and longer legs, isn't it? Longer legs over there, right? So now we shall actually, we are in a position to compare these features of the mosquitoes. However, we have talked about that already. Now it will be a good opportunity for us to revise, right? So look at the Anopheles, guys. Look at the Anopheles over here. Anopheles mosquito, Aedes mosquito and the Culex mosquito. These are the very common mosquito which are actually commonly tested in the MCQs as well. So if we talk about the body of the Anopheles mosquito over here, you can see the body can be divided into three parts: head, thorax and the abdomen. Head, thorax and abdomen, as far as Anopheles is concerned, they might be having the pair of wings, a pair of wings and three pair of the legs, right? Three pair of the legs and one pair of wings. Then wings are spotted in the Anopheles, while wings are unspotted in the Culex, Aedes and the Mansonia. Wings are unspotted in the Culex, Aedes, Culex and the Mansonia as well, but wings are spotted in what? Anopheles mosquito, right? Public health importance: female Anopheles mosquito transmits the malaria and the filaria. I told you already, but filaria is not reported in India. What is reported in India? What is endemic in India? That is the malaria. Malaria is found in the India very commonly, and you know that very well, right? Okay, if you talk about the other points about the Anopheles, they are actually, I told you, they are actually breeding themselves in the clean area. In the slow moving water is the preferred site to lay eggs. They are laying their eggs singly, not in the clusters. They are laying their eggs singly, right? They can lay their eggs in a wide range of water collection types, including fresh water and the salty water as well sometimes, right? If you talk about the Aedes mosquito, guys, very simple again. They are dark colored body. They are having the dark colored body. They are having the stripped body, white strips on the black colored body. Very, very important. I already told you they are also called as the tiger mosquito, and they are day biters. They usually bite in the daytime, right? They are the day biters. They are unspotted. They are responsible for spreading so many of diseases. For an example, they are responsible for spreading dengue, dengue hemorrhagic fever, dengue shock syndrome, chikungunya hemorrhagic fever, yellow fever, which is exotic in India. Yellow fever, which is exotic in India. Exotic disease means which is not found in any other country. For example, the yellow fever is not found in India, so that's why yellow fever is exotic in the country. But obviously, it can spread from other countries, so we need to be very, very cautious about that. For example, it might be spreading from the African passengers and all, right? Might come from the Africa. So Rift Valley. Other than that, we are having the Rift Valley and the Filariasis, which is again not in India, right? All of the diseases I mentioned in the discussion of Aedes mosquito as well. Artificial collection of water, guys, for example, swimming pool and all around human dwellings, clean water again, water in the desert coolers, fire buckets, flower pots, overhead tanks, discarded tins, broken bottles on the roof. For example, if the rain was there, and in the rainy season, usually on the roof we are having so many things present over there, right? Unattended buckets and tires and all tins and all of these things. So there might be the collection of water, and the Aedes mosquito might be spreading over there, right? Might be getting breeding over there. Now, Culex mosquito, if you talk about, body might be divided into three parts: head, thorax and abdomen, like the Anopheles, having a pair of the wings, again like the Anopheles, having three pairs of legs, again like the Anopheles, but here they are called as the nuisance mosquito. I told you in the Culex discussion also, they are laying their eggs. They are having the unspotted wings, and they are laying their eggs in a cluster or a rift or a rafting, right? A female Culex mosquito transmits what? Bancroftian filariasis, Japanese encephalitis, West Nile fever and viral arthritis. All of them I have mentioned in the discussion of Culex mosquito in itself. They are actually breeding themselves in the dirty area. They are having the siphon tube. They are having the siphon tube, both of them. Aedes mosquito, Culex mosquito and the Mansonia as well. They are having the siphon tube present over there, and water will be heading facing downwards, right? Head will be facing downwards in the water, right? Okay. And dirty and polluted water is the breeding site over here. Open drains, cesspools, leaking septic tanks, dirty water, puddles and all, they will be the areas where the breeding of the Culex mosquitoes larvae might be seen over there, right? So with that, we have completed the discussion of several mosquitoes, guys, in this particular series. In this particular session, basically we had a talk about the Anopheles mosquito, Culex mosquito, Aedes mosquito and the Mansonia mosquito, right? I hope you enjoyed the discussion. I will be seeing you in the next one. Thank you.